hope you're ready to see some amazing art tonight and talk to some great artists. We're live at the Leslie Grove Gallery. My name's Angela Lane, and I'm here at the Leslie Grove Gallery at the opening for Art's Sake. We're so lucky today because we have all four artists. Oh, there's lots of people joining us. I'm just going to say hi for a minute. We have all four artists joining us tonight. Unfortunately, with COVID restrictions, we are not able to have a regular opening for our shows. But we're really fortunate tonight to be able to still meet the artists, talk to them about their inspiration and about their art history, and learn a little bit about the pieces and really what was the impetus for the show and why we're here tonight. If you're not familiar with the Leslie Grove Gallery, we're in downtown Toronto, Queen Street East. Right now, tonight, we're going to be walking in and out. We're following COVID protocols very closely. So we're going to be chatting with all the artists, but sometimes they're going to be walking in and out of the gallery just because we want to maintain distance and make sure that we're able to communicate clearly with everybody and keep everybody safe. So I'm just going to walk around and just show you this amazing show just to get us started. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Oh, I can't see what that is. Just a minute. I see lots of comments coming down here congratulating everybody for the wonderful show. There, I'm going to turn this around so we're just like walking in the gallery right now. There's a beautiful shot here. Say hi. And here's Nedda, and then we're going to see Pat right here, another artist.
Hi.
There's her beautiful work behind her. And here's Cherie. Smiling behind her mask. And in this corner we have Susan.
Hello.
We also have a lot of beautiful work on this center pedestal here. Just going to do a little scan of the gallery so people can see. All right. Okay. Why don't we start with you, Pat? Maybe you can tell us a little bit. I'm just going to put the camera down here. Maybe you could, a little bit jerky there. Maybe, Pat, you can start by telling us a little bit about the purpose, the reason that you wanted to do this show, and the kind of the impetus of gathering all these women together.
Okay. Well, I think it was last fall. We were in the midst of COVID, as we are now. And I thought, wouldn't it be great to have a real show? Because I've done a few virtual shows, and I found them very unsatisfying. I don't think there's anything like having a show where the artists can actually show their work and people can come in and actually see the work. So I was hoping that by springtime, COVID would be a thing of the past. And I thought that, and then I realized the Leslie Grove Gallery was renting space, and I love the gallery. I think it's a great space. So I contacted Cherie, who's an abstract artist, because I wanted to have different styles in the show. And Nedda I've known for a long time too as an artist, and she does beautiful work. And we needed one more. And I never met Susan, but I had seen some of her art, which I really liked. So I thought it was a really good mix. And everybody jumped on board, and we were all looking forward to it. It also gave us a goal to paint towards. Because some of us were having a hard time painting, I think, during COVID.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of artists who maybe had that challenge about embracing their art practice when you didn't really have shows to really prepare for or to look forward to. So I think this is great. This is the first time I've seen art in person for a while, so I'm super excited to be here and learn a little bit more about your practice. Does anybody else here want to share with the folks here on Instagram why you're part of the show or why you're excited to be part of the show?
Well, I was thrilled to be asked to join these women. I'd seen their art, and even though I didn't know Nedda and Pat, it was thrilling because I just knew their work, and just to be part of a collaboration and work towards something was just wonderful. And have a goal, like Pat said. And the idea of having work in a gallery and not just online is a dream. So It's really great to be here, and it's been fabulous working with these guys.
Oh, great. How about you, Cherie? What made you want to be part of the show?
Well, I know that I've been a member of the Artist Network for a couple of years, and I'm very familiar with how one of our members, Marjolin, has done such a great job working on marketing. And I've been in other shows where the galleries just want you to show your work, they don't really care about selling work, and I know this gallery does a lot more work to help promote and really get your work out there. So that was one reason for doing it. Also, having a chance to show more than 2 or 3 pieces. I'm in a lot of group shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I invite people to come, and they're all excited, and then I only have 1 piece of work. So
Right.
this was nice because we each have about 7 pieces. They're quite large, and we got to curate it ourselves.
Oh, awesome.
Nedda did an excellent job with her design system,
Right.
laying everything out ahead of time. So we all had different things we contributed.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so Nedda, you did that? You designed the group, the graphics, the postcards?
No, not that. I think what she meant was I work on the CAD because I'm an interior designer, and so what I did, I installed all the art on a piece of paper, basically. So when we came in to put the art up, everybody already knew their spot.
Oh,
So we didn't have to spend too much time trying to figure out where this goes and where that goes. So I guess in a way I almost curated it. I guess you can say that.
well, that's great, especially during, these COVID practices, safety protocol, that would have become a much more efficient install, right? So you guys knew what to expect and where to hang things. So that's great that you're able to do that. So where did the name for the show come from, ladies?
I think,
We talked about having a theme,
yeah.
but we decided we all just had our own perspectives. We all sort of abstract a bit, and we just like the simplicity of, and even though we were coming together, we were all very separate folks with different perspectives and different ways of viewing the world and expressing ourselves. So it came kind of naturally.
Yeah, I think we brainstormed during a Zoom meeting, and
Right.
it came together pretty quickly, the name, didn't it?
Yeah.
We knew it was going to be something with a 4 in it, and we wanted it short and concise.
Well, it
So,
worked.
yeah, it didn't take too long.
Well, it's great. It's amazing to me. Like I say, you're all so different. Yet when I just take a scan of the gallery here, I just see, wow, they all look so beautiful. The different styles, they look so beautiful together. And there's a lot of similar colors and feeling in the work, actually. Maybe you guys can tell me a little bit more. Maybe who wants to stand up and talk a little bit more about themselves as an artist and what brought them to this part of their career. Like, how did you get to where you are today? Who wants to start? Do you want to start, Nedda?
Sure, why not?
Here, I'm going to actually focus in a little bit
Thank you.
on you and on your pieces. If you want to step in front, you'll be able to be in the camera.
Okay.
So I'm just going to stop for 1 second, and I'm just going to, I just want to see if everybody can hear us, because we've been moving the camera around a little bit. So if anybody wants to put in the comments, yes, you can hear us, or no, you can't. That would be awesome, because we can't always tell. So I just want to make sure people can hear us speaking, especially as the artists start talking a little bit more about their art practice. I'm going to put this over here so we can see your lovely work behind you.
Oh, thank you. So I started painting around 2007, and I took a lot of courses, basically self-taught, but I do have a background in art. I'm a graduate of OCAD sculpture installation.
Oh, wow,
I
okay.
used to do that, and then I used to cast in concrete, and as I'm getting older, it was getting heavier and heavier.
Right.
So I decided, why not try to do some painting? It's a lot easier to carry, and appreciated that, and I started working. And it started very simple with a lot of portraits.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, you don't hear me?
One
Um,
person asked if
yeah.
you knew the
It's
artist.
hard to hear the artists. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the camera a bit closer to you. So hopefully it picks up you a bit more, because I can talk very loudly. Then I'm going to step back. I'm going to put it there, and you can, sorry, we're just going to have to come this way to the right.
This way?
Yes, there.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
All right.
So now if you want to try to speak up, I'm just going to step back a bit.
So I forgot what I was saying.
We're talking a little bit about where you are and how you started simply initially.
Oh, yes.
And you're working on portraits initially.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've all drawn pictures of our family to start.
And I think that's probably why there's a lot of figures in my artwork, and it's a passion that, I don't know, I always had an instinct about it. And I'm going further and further away from that. I think I'm becoming a little bit more confident with my work.
Right.
And I see that I'm just kind of letting go, because my work makes me very tight and very precise. And that was the difficulty, to break away and try to be free and do what you feel inside rather than what your brain dictates.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can see that in your work. Actually, when you say you're a little more constrained and everything, I actually find it quite bold. The two pieces behind you, there's a lot of red, and they're very bold. And the figure on the right side here, I can see maybe a little bit stronger than the figure on your left piece here.
Right.
I'm just wondering, does the figure come first, or the
Well, actually-
composition come first, or?
Well, a lot of my work
I'm just going to go in a bit closer
Sure.
here.
is instinctive.
Mm-hmm.
If you want, I always say the canvas is my friend. We get along some days, other days we fight. And that's because it reacts. When you do something and you see that there is, yes, it's working, no, it's not working, and it's just layers over layers of work.
Right.
That's what I do. Everybody does, and I'm not the only one.
And for those of us who maybe don't know, do you work in acrylics, or do you do other mediums, or?
No, it's basically acrylic. I use a lot of squirt pens.
A lot of what?
Squirt
Oh,
pens.
right, okay.
Yeah. Now these lines were done with a brush,
Right.
but a lot of the other stuff.
Sorry, which lines? I just didn't quite get that on the camera. Do you want to just show us again? What lines?
These lines
Yeah.
were all done with a pen.
Oh, beautiful.
Excuse me, one of the people have said it's hard to hear you with the mask, so maybe,
Okay.
if
So
Angela steps back, you can actually lower yours too.
Okay, so I think some of the viewers are having a hard time hearing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the artist talk, and then they can remove their mask slightly, and then I'm going to just step quite far back. So why don't we move to another artist? You'll have a break to talk, and then we'll come back to you, Nedda. Okay? Shall we move over to Susan, who also does some beautiful figurative work? Hi, Susan. I'm gonna see if they can hear you with your mask on first. I'll put this down in front of you with maybe two of your pieces behind you here, and then okay. This is some of your figurative work there. I'm just gonna there, and then I'm just gonna step back.
Okay, well, I'll speak up and
Okay.
let me know if people can hear me.
So maybe
I'll
you
try
can-
to keep my mask on.
So maybe you can start by just telling us a little bit about yourself, and then maybe we can get into a little bit of your work if you're able to.
Sure, I started painting sort of like Nedda around 2006, taking lots of courses. And initially it was a bit of an escape from just pressures of work and life. I'm a family doctor who's now retired, but at the time I loved just going into my studio, being quiet. I found it a really meditative practice and a way to just bring calm and reflection into my life. And it sort of basically maintained as stayed the same over those years, except it's taken a much larger role in my life. I just painted more and more, took courses, like I said, painted with different groups of folks, and just explored all kinds of mediums. So I started with acrylic and doing landscape, then moved to oil and cold wax, and now I do I do those things as well, but I'll also do mixed media. So the work that's in this show is my most recent work, and it's mixed media. So I start with making collages, and I'm a big hoarder of materials, so every little exercise I've ever done, drawing exercise, painting, gel printing, whatever I have, I save that and I use it as grounds, and I love making these this is a good example of a very active ground that has all kinds of layers in it. And I used to sort of have an idea of a composition and then add the work, and I'm working a little differently now. Now I start with the collage, and I make a full out collage, and then I decide what image of mine might suit it. So I look back at my travel photos, at my drawings from working with models, and decide which of those images really suits the collage. So then I start integrating them.
Oh, that's really interesting. So the collage sort of starts to tell the story, and then you add these images to kind of complete the story, or to continue on that story, to add to the story as the story develops.
Exactly, and then it takes on its own life I
Right.
just look at it as compositionally in color and contrast, and is it working, is it not working, and is it speaking to me? And in the end, it's my way of just exploring the figure, exploring art and all the different elements of design in art. And I see my work as being fairly contemplative and calming. It's what it does for me. I might start with something really wild and crazy color-wise and full of color, and in the end, a lot of it gets muted down because that's what makes me feel good to do.
And your colors here, are you like late? I can see that it's late. I don't know if people can see here. I'm just going to go up super close here.
Sure.
But it looks like there's a lot of, I'm just going to go sideways here because you can see there's some texture as well with the layering.
Well, there's a lot of collage in that. So what happens is I did the collage first. It covered the full canvas. Then I drew in the image and started painting, and then I decided that I painted in too much and it was losing its energy, so I went and ripped up more papers and collaged those in, and then I do layers on top of that to protect it. So there's a lot of layering, and a lot of the marks and mark making come from the original papers, like this ink there. So I use papers that have had ink and graphite and acrylic paint on them, and as well as things from magazine articles or even photos from my travels. I might
Or even cartoons, I think, here.
Yep, there's some cartoon newspaper. And I'm always thrilled with what shows up in the end, because sometimes it's really interesting things that actually speak to the piece and sometimes not.
Right.
But it's interesting what's left at the end.
Yeah, this texture and all the imagery and all the layers is just beautiful. Like even here, like in the corner, how you can see a small pieces coming up and really coming to the foreground.
Yeah, what I loved in this one too is I got to start incorporating some Japanese papers. I found in the past that when I used Japanese papers it looked a little contrived, and I just liked the way I could work these in without them looking too obvious.
Right, awesome. Lots of love hearts here. People are loving it. And is this typical of your color palette that you're using here? I love these colors. These are like some of my favorite colors.
Yes, I do a lot of muted tones. I've gotten into sort of corals and sort of turquoisey a little bit more this year, but a lot of blue, orange, and muted. A lot of gray.
Awesome.
Gray. Love gray. All different shades of gray.
All right, well, I think we're going to move on and talk to Cherie here for a minute.
My turn.
Your turn, Cherie.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm just going to stand in this corner, but my work tends to go mostly around the corner with a bit of Susan's in here.
Okay, all right. I'm going to just put this down. You can just tell us a little bit about yourself first. I'm going to focus on the artwork instead of sorry, it's just going to, I just need to tilt a bit.
If you unscrew it, yeah.
Right, just bear with me, everybody.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, so I'm tilting up a bit just so you can see Cherie's beautiful work here. It's very bold. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and then maybe get into a piece or two.
The show, I think a couple of shows ago, there was one called Big Bold Risk.
Right, yeah,
And when
in
I
January.
saw that title, I went, oh, that sounds exactly like my pieces, because so often I have to fit into shows that don't really speak to abstracts necessarily.
Right.
They're a theme of the home or something. So I found that I have, over the past few years, spent more time on my art practice. Since about 2016, I went back to actually Central Tech.
Oh, yeah?
Year. I decided that year I made a lot of personal changes. I think I realized I lost some weight, and then I was talking to my nutritionist. She asked me this question that was, if you died tomorrow, what would you have missed or wish, be unhappy that you hadn't done? And I said, well, nothing really, but maybe art. And that triggered me to decide to go to school for the full year, full time. And
Wow.
I did pottery and printmaking, which I didn't think I would like, but I did find that just being in a creative environment 5 days a week, I liked it. I loved it. So after that, I wanted to spend more time painting, and I really felt that I enjoyed abstract. I like the Bay Area figurative artists also, and a lot of abstract expressionists. And
Yeah, it's beautiful work. It's quite bold. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about the piece here behind you here.
yeah,
Just gonna go up a little bit closer. So there's actually quite a bit of texture and layers in your work, similar to
Yes.
Susan's, Cherie.
So I was going to say that the piece above was just done all at one time with very little underneath it.
Right.
But this piece has a history, and I did put on my Instagram. It started out, actually, it was a canvas that a friend of mine sold me because she was moving to BC. So it already had a painting on. Then I put a painting on based on a small start that I had done
Right.
that looked sort of like a waterfall, but it was vertical.
Oh, wow.
And
It's
then
really changed.
And then I didn't think it was really sellable or beautiful. I liked it. I liked some of the colors, but so I had it up at the cottage this summer, and I had quite a bit of time during COVID, and I had a garage studio sort of. But this one I hung on the wall outside of my garage, so I'm surrounded by trees and lake, and I think it picked up some of the colors from that. Anyway, it shifted from being sideways or vertical to horizontal, and it went through many different stages. And I think I was also doing a class where we were working with some collage bits, so there is, I think there's a little bit of collage in here. Well, I did see a piece of paper up here. And I think some of these little marks that look like squares probably came from some of the collage and the patterning that I was doing with a teacher, but I'd done that on very small pieces, and I thought, oh, it needs something. And if you look actually on my Instagram, it used to have more black lines through here, and I think I decided it was too much. So
Let's just pull back and take a look at the piece all as one. Yeah, it's
but it
beautiful.
felt over and under. It felt like some kind of weaving to me, a basket weave.
Right.
I've actually turned it into products.
Oh, wow. Beautiful.
So, and I really love them, and there's some called that I have are a headband. But anyway, it's a tote bag, and anyway, I love it.
Oh, I love it too. It's beautiful. I think we've talked before about your work, Cherie. I was just wondering, so this painting started in many, many layers, and it took many, really switched the journey totally from vertical to horizontal, and then some dark lines coming through, and you're not, you're moving and changing a lot. But a lot of your work seems very gestural. Do you paint with your whole body? It almost seems like they're very broad. Some of your work here, I see right on this wall, for example, they're quite really big, bold strokes.
This one also has an old painting underneath. This one doesn't have anything underneath. It takes me a long time to get going when I paint.
Right.
Pat remembers, I used to say when we were taking classes at Cedar Ridge, I never really had any ideas when I walked in the class. I relied a lot on the teachers to get me started. I warmed up, and right now I work with a teacher Suzanne Metz, who likes us to do lots of little starts, because I find there's more energy in those, and I like having movement and energy in my work. So,
well, you definitely see that.
I start slowly, and then as I get going, and I've done some things in my studio lately with, I don't think the piece is here, but I put it down flat, and I just use a big spatula, and I just make shapes. And yes, I like to stand, and I like to get movement. I think I talked to Nedda about the piece behind you, and I tend to leave my work looking a little raw and unfinished, I think.
Right.
And Nedda wasn't sure if this painting was done, and I said, yes, I think it is. Because for me, I always stop before I think it's really done.
Oh, it's a beautiful piece, Nedda.
Keeps the energy and the
I don't know if people can hear you.
immediacy.
A little bit closer to you.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk to Pat for a minute, because we haven't talked to her about her work, and then we'll come back and talk to Nedda and everybody else again. I wish I'd wore quieter shoes.
Pardon me? No, these are Nedda's.
Oh, that is okay. And these are yours here. Oh, yes, I can see that now. Yeah.
And the two over there on the.
Oh, right. Beautiful. Okay, and there's one on the center as well,
and
maybe, right?
one,
Okay, let me just put this down, and then I'm just going to capture all three of them in there. Sorry for the shaking, everybody. And I'm just going to turn this down a bit here like that. All right, so if you sort of stand in a little bit, then people can see a little bit as well, and then I'm going to step away just so that people can hear you. I'll put it on this. It's really showcasing this one piece right here, right now.
This blue one?
Yes. Let's bring stuff away. Maybe you can just share a little bit about your history as an artist, and then maybe get into a piece or two.
Okay. So I actually started painting in my teenage years. My grandmother lived with us for several years, and she was a really good artist, and she painted in her bedroom. And I used to watch her paint quite a bit. And then when she died, I just borrowed or took all her brushes and oils, and it was all oils back then. And I started painting, but my main interest was portraiture. I really was never interested in doing landscapes at all. I just loved doing people's faces and trying to capture character of a person. And then I think I painted into my 20s. Then kind of life happened. I went to university. I eventually went to law school. I practiced law for several years. Then I switched to interior design. And then about, I would say maybe 7 years ago, I decided to kind of slow things down a bit and try and get back into painting.
Right.
And I wasn't really going to do any landscapes, but I was on a trip. I don't know when this was.
Pat keeps
Maybe-
leaving the screen. I'm trying to get her in the
I'm
camera.
trying to-
She keeps moving. Do you really not want to be on camera, Pat?
I'm trying to follow that. Okay, I'll
You just stay still. I've got the camera.
Anyway, I went into this little gallery in Paris, and there was this artist's work there, and I was just captivated. He actually painted very large paintings, but they were these huge, serene kind of landscapes I'd never seen before. And I suddenly realized, wow, that really captures my interest, my attention. I'm going to try and kind of do something like that. I just loved it. So I did. I started doing landscapes in this kind of style. And everybody always says they feel very tranquil and peaceful. And
Well, they certainly do. I would agree with that. Like they're very much have that peaceful,
Yeah.
serene feeling. Like it's
Yeah.
just beautiful.
And you need to come see them in person. 'Cause
Yeah, so all these paintings you can come see in person
Yeah.
at the Leslie Grove Gallery.
Yeah, that's actually Galapagos, that one.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The cloud formation is really quite striking, and even probably more so in person here. And then this one's quite calm, this lake,
Yeah, the
marsh lake.
I have a friend who lives in the Hudson Valley in New York, and she sends me a lot of photographs
Right.
because she loves this kind of moody landscape. So a lot of these are from there.
Well, the wetlands always have that sort of feeling, I think. Like they're
Yeah.
pretty calming.
This one's sort of out of my head. I don't think I had an image really. I just
Right.
painted that.
Is that how you mostly work? Do you work more out of your head as like a representation in regards to, like, could be lots of places or things you've been to, or is it a specific location? People ask me that about my work all the
Yes.
time, so I just wonder how you
I
work.
often need a photograph to start me going on a painting, but more often I usually just discard the photograph at some point and just go off on my own and paint it the way I want it to look rather than how it looks on the photograph.
Yeah. Well, that's the benefit of being an artist, because you get to display what you want. You turn it into the space you want it
Yes.
to be, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to just camera over here to one of your other pieces.
Oh. Yeah, that one is actually an image that my friend sent me from the Hudson Valley.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Which,
A lot of yellow in your work, really. And at
There's
least
a
the ones
lot
that are
of-
here, is that typical of your work?
yes, and a lot of yellow and green in my work, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know, I particularly love this one, which I did recently. I don't know why, it's just, I find it very,
It reminds me sort of a field of sunflowers, even though
Yes.
they're not necessarily sunflowers, but it's sort of that
yeah,
bright yellow, happy feeling.
that's right.
Yet it's still quite calm, and the sky's so yellow too, or like it's just a reflection everywhere. 10 minutes left. All right.
That one is the Hudson Valley again, another image. Yeah, I seem to do a lot of horizontal lines. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So this is pretty typical of the work. So people will be able to buy and purchase these pieces at the Leslie Grove Gallery store. So I don't know if I mentioned that before, but all these pieces in the gallery here are for sale. So if you can't make it down, the gallery is still open, I believe. Barb, is the gallery still open?
Yes.
With the current lockdowns? Yeah, so it's still open, but we're following strict protocol, so you might have to wait to get in. And I just say, you know, make sure that you call beforehand if you're at all concerned about any changes that the Ontario government's put in place. Just call the gallery. Our normal hours are Wednesday to Sunday from noon until 5 p.m. And then you can also find all these beautiful pieces online, but I mean, there's nothing like seeing art in person if you do get a chance to come down. I think I'd like to talk to Nedda again because we didn't actually, because we didn't actually get to chat too much. So I'm going to put the camera down and then you can speak, maybe take your mask off, but let me just put this down.
I can try.
Is this your piece? Is this your piece here?
That's
The
mine,
figured
the
piece.
one behind you.
Okay, so I'm going to put it on the red one here because it's quite bold and strong. And then I'm just going to step away because I think people are having a hard time hearing you. So maybe you can tell us again a little bit about this piece and about your figurative work.
Okay. So this was a canvas that I won on a Christmas party.
Oh,
so it was a canvas that was shared at the American Group of Artists, and they had all painted over it. So I took it and I made it my own. I started doing layers over layers. And
So when you say shared, does that mean you have other artists were doing like a shared piece of work?
Exactly.
Right,
It was
okay.
work just for fun, I guess.
Oh, okay, all right.
And at the end, they just
You got
give
it.
it.
You got it. Okay. Awesome. I get it now.
So I first of all, I gessoed over it. I covered up everything, and then as you can see, I work with a lot of signs, movements, and a little bit of droppings. Most of all, layers, like one layer over the other, over the one. Like I can go over forever, and if I don't like something, I gesso over it again. And every time I gesso, I use a mixture of gesso and airbrush,
Right.
so they become very, very fluid, and you can still see the underside,
Right.
and they become very, very muted. And then I go over again with bright colors, and so that's how that works.
So you use different mediums with the acrylics to be able to make it translucent like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I use translucent paints, and I never touch water.
Oh, never touch water, yeah.
Never touch
When I paint with acrylics, I never touch water either.
One
And
of those
I hardly
things.
ever touch black.
One
but
of those
it's-
things that
Yeah.
doesn't work. Yeah.
That's
So-
beautiful.
And the other one is this is a one fairy one related to our days. That's why
I'm
it's
just going to put
called,
this down and then I'm just going to step away for a second.
Sure.
Just want to make sure
It's
people can
called.
see it.
I don't remember.
You don't remember. It's called You Don't Remember or You Don't Remember?
A state of complexity.
It's too complex.
I just put a second blank. Anyway, so this one and then the next one behind you is the one to follow. That's what I said before. I started to get more confident.
Right.
I kind of let go of images as much and just
So
loosen
you
up.
still see the figurative work within the piece.
Yes.
And the gestures and
Exactly. So I think it's going to be stage 2 or 3 for me.
right.
Yeah, I find that I get tired of doing the same theme over and over.
Right.
Although I know everybody says, "Oh, you must have a body of work." So,
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have a good body of work when you're sending in to submit to a show, like a group show or whatever, or like an outdoor show. But yeah, I think everybody's always growing as an artist, and it's great to embrace this. I think during COVID, for me as well as I think a lot of other people, it was a bit of an experimental stage. I think that people got to experiment with new mediums, maybe new techniques, but I see that some of you have been able to work towards this goal of this show, which is awesome to have this goal so that you could present a body of work to the public. I think it's amazing. I'm just going to double check our time. How long have we been recording? Because I don't know exactly when we started. Does anybody know?
thank you.
About 45 minutes?
Not a few 3 minutes.
To 45 minutes or to an hour?
That's
To 45 minutes. All right. Well, I think I'm just going to pull back and see if there's anybody. There's a few pieces here we haven't seen. So as I walk around, maybe put up your hand and let me know if you want to say something about your work, or if there's something you didn't share with people coming out today.
I can say something about this piece.
Okay.
It's more of an anecdote. I painted one of these, and after it was finished, I thought, I really don't like these, proportion of this canvas at all.
Right.
It looks too skinny, and I had it in a show. I actually was the Toronto show, and someone came into my booth, and it was a couple, and I heard him say, "Oh, the wife really liked it,"
Right?
and then I had heard him say to her, "I don't like the proportions."
Oh,
So I thought.
so you made a
so-
diptych.
So I made a diptych, yeah. So that's
Awesome.
how that happened. Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's how work always takes us on a journey, right? I'm just going to scan through the show here one more time. So again, I'm at the Leslie Grove Gallery down on Queen Street, 1158 Queen Street. And there's some beautiful work here. So you've met the artists tonight, but you can learn more about them on our website, lesliegrovegallerystore.ca. And again, all these works are for purchase. You can follow us on Instagram. We'll be posting more about the show. Just going to walk through here. This one's beautiful. It's a lot of high contrast. Nedda, you do a lot of contrast. It's beautiful here too. Pat. It's an amazing show. If you get a chance to come down to the gallery, I very much recommend it. Just going to walk through here one more time. Here's a few more of Susan's works. Oh, it's beautiful. I like this one here. It looks a little contemplative.
Yeah, and that figure it's a woman sitting. It's based on a model from many years ago, and I've done many, many, many versions of it. So it's a bit of an iconic figure for me. So that's woman sitting number 10.
Oh, it's
I've done more
beautiful.
than that.
I really like the mixed media in these pieces. The patterning,
Thank you.
especially here.
And
Oops,
this one's
sorry,
called
shaking.
View from Paradise. It's based on an image through a window at the Paradise Glass Gallery in Grenada. So,
Right. It's beautiful. I'm just going to walk through here. Cherie's work. I think we've seen most of these on this wall. And then these three again here from
One
Susan.
behind the door, maybe.
There's one behind the door here? Okay.
Yeah,
And I haven't done this wall yet. Oh, here's one of Cherie's. Oh, wow. A lot of similar, because it's beautiful.
I think we're pretty much
great
close.
Yeah.
Again, that's one of many layers.
Many, many layers. I think most people here have many, many layers, and the piece have taken them on a journey. Maybe with the exception of Pat, who's maybe a little bit more. They have.
No, actually, there are a lot of layers.
There's a lot of layers. I don't mean layers, but I mean you haven't flipped a painting on its side.
Oh.
Have you? Did you win a painting and like create a new painting?
Pat just painted her sky 12 times.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful skies.
Yeah,
Okay.
All right. Okay, ladies. Thanks so much for everybody for joining us. And I'm just going to stop this now.